We welcome you in. I'm Nick Lawton from Local News Live. We thank you so much for joining us here for this live report, both on our 24/7 stream and on Facebook. Well, we're now going to take you to a story, the bombshell in college football that has rocked the entire college athletics world these past week and a half. The fact that the universities of both Southern California and the University of California at Los Angeles are now moving on to the Big Ten Conference, leaving the Pac-12 Conference. And now suddenly the futures of the 10 other members of that conference, including two of the biggest universities in the state of Arizona, are now in flux. So what are the University of Arizona and Arizona State University going to do in the wake of all of this? Well, I sat down with Mark McClune, a sports anchor and reporter from our great TV station KTVK in Phoenix, Arizona, to talk about what this is all going to look like and what's their process of taking such a great big national story, but making sure that the local communities are represented in that. Let's get you out there to that.
Joining with me, Mark McClune, all things sports. Our great TV station KTVK there, based in Phoenix, Arizona. Well, it's been such a busy time for you guys out there, Mark. First of all, how are you?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to just sit down and talk. You know, you're not having to monitor social media. You're not having to make 15 calls to see if Kevin Durant's coming to town. What's the latest with the Pac-12? This Brittany Griner story has certainly captivated, the entire world, especially sports fans here in the Valley of the Sun. And then we have the Arizona Diamondbacks just fighting to stay relevant. And Arizona Cardinal training camp is right around the corner.
Just a little bit busy.
Yeah. Just this is actually supposed to be the slow time too. I'm putting in high school football credentials the other day, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, there's no lull. Usually, like when we launched a 30-minute sports show here in Phoenix about a year ago and thought, July, we're really going to have to stack content for July. I mean, what are we? It's July 7th, and we are closing in on training camp, and we have more than we can even talk about every night. We're very, very, very blessed sports town right now.
Obviously, the big bombshell of this summer is USC, UCLA leaving, and now both of Arizona's most premier universities and college football programs, at least the ones that they're known the most for in the state of Arizona, now find themselves scrambling for that next destination. Is the Pac-12 going to stay together? Are the Pac-12 and the Big 12 going to merge? Is the Big 12 now going to start poaching some the Arizona schools and one of its schools that used to know, Colorado? But when you're going through all of this, how do you work to keep the pulse of the community shown in such a national story?
Yeah, I think we just kind of base it off of the wow factor. What is everybody talking about? You're out talking to people, you're texting with buddies, you're following social media, you're making calls to sources on stories, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. There's been a lot of radio silence, not only with the Pac-12 story, but with the Kevin Durant stories. I think these are two huge, groundbreaking stories that threaten to change sports. And especially when we look at this Pac-12 story and what becomes of the conference. I mean, there's a lot of jobs on the line here. This has to do with student athletes and NIL money. It is extremely complicated. And I think at the very heart of it, you have to look at ESPN and Fox, the way they want to divvy up college football. And I think those discussions are being had at the highest level right now to try to put together a 64-team super league, super NCAA football that might be outside of the NCAA. And, you have four conferences. It's 16 league teams that whittle down to a Final Four. I think that's the ultimate hope. But right now, the jigsaw puzzle's out of the box, and it is completely confusing and kind of sad to look at.
It's entirely different when you have so many alumni, not just in Arizona, but, Sun Devil and Wildcat alumni across the nation and the world who don't have that landing zone, who weren't the instigators to this, who are now going WTF.
Right. And and part of me feels bad. Like we messed it up, like Texas and Oklahoma were the ones who, did what was best for our two universities. And then this is kind of people being caught up in the aftermath of that. But I think there is a way to take what's left of the Big 12, merge it with what's left of the Pac-12. If you want to take Oregon and Washington, the Bay Area schools, and maybe partner them with the ACC, and do that. And you have a television network that, I mean, the ACC network, what are they going to televise after, 8:00 at night Pacific time? So I think that makes a lot of sense to do that. And that's kind of how you piece this thing back together, is to put like an Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado together with an Oklahoma State, Kansas State, teams that have beaten our alma maters before. You've got the Dallas market with TCU. You've got the Houston market with the University of Houston. You've got a good basketball league if you have Kansas, Baylor, and Arizona basketball. So it's not Texas, Georgia. It's not Oklahoma, LSU every Saturday. But those are teams and those are programs that have shown that they are solid programs. Will it be seen as a step down? Well, they're going to need to schedule some games, play some people, and pick up some wins. And then this whole, deal where the Pac-12 went away, it might become an afterthought at some point down the road. But right now, the wounds are certainly fresh. I mean, it's a lot of whiplash. It's a lot of text. It's a lot of Twitter messages. It's a lot of just trying to say, hey, what is going on here? I need to go on television right now or like on our show right now and discuss this. So what is information that is responsible to say out loud? And then, a lot of our business has become speculation. People won't say things. So there are reports. So one person is getting information, inside the Pac-12 office, and everybody goes with it. I mean, you interview people who are reporting something because, there's a situation where I might not have been told something directly, but everybody's acting like it's true. So you start believing it's true. And like with this Kevin Durant story, is he coming to Phoenix? I feel like it's going to happen, but until it happens, it's just a lot of what would this mean? And if the whole town's talking about it, that in and of itself, I think becomes a story. The colleges and the professional teams, I mean, I don't know that it really benefits them as much to share all of their information with us. So it's a very slow drip, and they want to control what comes out because it's their business, and they have a boss to answer to, and you have to respect that as well. So yeah, it's there's never a dull day. Most of the time the day starts at 9 a.m. and you're done with the Extra Point television show at 11 o'clock and walking out the door and already thinking about tomorrow. And once I drop my kids off at school, you're kind of already getting after it a little bit, but it's fun. I don't know what else I would, if I wasn't doing this for a living, I would still be monitoring it. So I might as well, do it for a living.
Going forward from here, do you have any inklings about what this future is going to look like?
I think it's going to be very awkward for a couple of years. I think once Texas and Oklahoma make the move and UCLA and USC make the move, and there's going to be, there might be some buyer's remorse a little bit. I mean, Lincoln Riley, do you think he left OU thinking he was going to go have to play Ohio State? And then how much are you looking forward to that, USC Maryland matchup in soccer? So I think there's going to be a little bit of, okay, what did we just do? How can we make it right for the entire country? And I think if you bring other schools like Arizona and Arizona State into the mix, you want a market like Phoenix that is growing. You don't want to leave out the state of Arizona. So at some point, this will all be made right. It'll be made whole. You'll still have the Big Ten and the SEC, but I think there's a way of kind of putting Humpty Dumpty back together again, so everybody still feels like they have a shot to go play for a national title.
Please, everyone, mail him coffee, all the coffee in the world. More plugs. Where can people find your work?
Yeah, the Extra Point podcast, which is on azfamily.com. It's also on Spotify and on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, our television show streams on the AZ Family app. So that's every night at 10:30. 30 minutes worth of sports. It's the Valley's only nightly local sports show. And I don't know how many television stations right now in the country are attempting to do a 30-minute sports show. We have been, again, very blessed with content. And I mean, last night was all kind of bad news, but it is what it is. We've had a lot of great stories. We've got the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, the drama with Kyler Murray and his contract, and will center Rodney Hudson retire? You've got the Phoenix Suns. What will they look like? The Arizona Diamondbacks trading deadline's coming up. The NHL draft is tonight. The Pac-12 story. The Phoenix Mercury might trade star Skylar Diggins-Smith. We all hope Brittany Griner gets home safely. And high school sports is just around the corner. So if you want to move operations down here, we'd be happy to if you want to give you a camera and you can just go follow us out in the field and we can find out, we're all chasing content at this point. You're welcome to move to Phoenix and do the show live from down here.
Absolutely. I'm sure you guys could use 10 extra pairs of hands to get a handle on all this.
Mark McClune, a sports anchor and reporter from our great TV station KTVK in Phoenix, Arizona, trying to cover everything that's going to be happening with the future of Arizona universities in the Pac-12 now that conference is shifting. You can find all of their local coverage on azfamily.com. They also have a podcast, the Extra Point Podcast, which you can find wherever you get your podcasts. We thank Mark for joining us, a member of one of our more than 120 great TV stations across the nation, bringing you local news live the second we see all of their streams currently happening.